Hello everybody and welcome back to the Mr. Matthew Does Coding YouTube channel. So, Roblox has hopped on the AI train and has come out recently with their new assistant. So, I thought this was pretty interesting since I'm in this developer space. So, I wanted to try it out today to see what kind of things it can offer and what it also can't offer at the moment. And also keep in mind that this program is in beta, so some things that I do in this video or some kind of responses I get might change later, for the better or for the worse. So I haven't tried this out yet, but it kind of looks similar to how ChatGPT is set up. You have like these little prompts here. What is streaming and how will it help my experience? Let's see what that's about. So immediately at the top, I noticed that it says, I couldn't find Roblox docs, so be sure to double check this answer. So that tells us that it's probably getting this information straight from the Roblox developer hub, where all the documentation is. So let's see what else it has to say. Streaming refers to the process of loading and displaying content in real time while it's being downloaded. When content is streamed, it is loaded in smaller chunks instead of all at once. By using streaming, developers can create more immersive and seamless experiences for the players. You can explore Roblox Studio and its documentation for features and settings related to streaming. Keep in mind that implementing streaming effectively may require some additional development and optimization to work. It's pretty interesting. Let's ask it some other questions. How about, how do you rig a custom humanoid model? Alright, so it says, prepare your model. Import the model into a third-party modeling tool. You'll need to use a third-party modeling tool like Blender or Maya to rig your custom humanoid model. Import your model into the tool of your choice. It's kind of interesting because I've been able to rig up humanoids in-game just fine without having to import it into Blender or Maya. Like, for my game, The Valley, the tool stand, I had to rig up all the tools so that they could animate. I didn't do any of that in Blender. So let's see what else it has to say. The modeling tool, create a rig or bone structure for your humanoid model. This involves creating and positioning bones that correspond to different body parts. So it's talking about the bones. Parent the meshes to the rig. Assign influences. Assign influence weights to each mesh and bone to determine how much they are affected by bone movement. Okay, that's pretty interesting. Export the rigged model. Import it into Roblox Studio. Pose and animate the rig. Oh, and it even provided sources. It's pretty interesting. Are these, like, part of the... Yeah, this is part of the developer hub. I thought that's what this was about. Oh, it's showing, like, the newer kind of models. The creepy humanoid ones. That's probably why it recommended using a 3D modeling software, because this would probably work better in that. I don't know. Alright, let's ask it some other questions. What are some plugins you can recommend to speed up game development? Misspelled recommend. Oops. Alright, so it gave me Rojo, which is a plugin that allows you to use external version control systems like Git and code editors like Visual Studio Code. Mesh optimization tools to optimize the geometry and physics of triangle mesh part objects. Render settings plugin. I've never heard of this one. This plugin allows you to quickly edit studio and client quality levels to simulate different settings seen as an end user on different devices. Ooh. Brush tool. Yeah. That one's pretty good. Resize Align. Yeah. Reflect by Starvent. Reflect is another plugin by Starvent that allows you to reflect models over a chosen plane. Oh, pretty simple. Remember that these plugins are developed by the community and not by Roblox. While they can be helpful, it's important to exercise caution and ensure... Okay, so it's basically just like the corporate thing where this isn't from the company, so it might have a virus. Alright. Well, I mean, those are some really good options, and it even showed me some that I hadn't heard of before. I might use the mesh optimization tool at some point. Alright, on with the questions. Let's see. How to monetize a game. Let's see what kind of wisdom it gives me. Alright. So it recommended developer products, game passes, paid access. Paid access can sometimes work, but it also sometimes can't work. It's a kind of tightrope. It's a tightrope you're walking on with that, I think. In-game advertising. I mean, in-game advertising, it can help, definitely. But I think as a player, sometimes advertising can be a little annoying. It has to be done sparingly, and it has to be not done in your face. What does it have to say about it? You can integrate advertisements into your game to generate revenue. Roblox offers an advertising system called Ad Service. Yeah, I heard of that. You can earn a portion of the revenue generated from these ads. Okay. Sponsored content. You can collaborate with brands or other developers to create sponsored content with your game. Virtual goods marketplace. If you have skills in 3D modeling, you can create and sell virtual items or accessories on Roblox Marketplace. Okay. Remember to be mindful of monetization methods you introduce into your game. It's important to provide value to players and ensure that your monetization strategies are fair and transparent. It's a really good recommendation, I think, from this chatbot. Alright. Now, I want to hit it with a coding question. So far, I've just asked it like really simple things, but I want to see if I can give it a code block and see if it can solve the problem that I ask it to. So I've gotten a giant code block, a really complex code block from my game. It's to deal with the inventory. So I'm gonna ask it, describe what this code does and see what it can give me. Maximum characters exceeded. Try asking a question with fewer words or start a new conversation. Uh-oh. Okay, I've gotten a smaller, even smaller code block. See if it'll do something with it now. Okay, it's actually generating something now. So, this code snippet appears to be a script that handles events. It's going too fast. This code snippet appears to be a script that handles events related to a game feature involving inventory management. I got that correct. Here's a breakdown of what the code does. The info table stores information about an item and its quantity. That's correct. It contains triggered, which suggests that it is triggered when a specific condition is met in the game. That's kind of hard to go off of, but that's being triggered by a proximity prompt. When the triggered event is fired, the script disables the parent object and retrieves the user ID of the player who triggered the event. Yes. The script creates a location variable and then references to the current script. Yeah. Uses add item bindable fire player to fire a remote event located in the inventory module within replicated storage. Inventory module within replicated storage. I don't know where I got that from. It passes a table as an argument containing information such as the player's location, player ID, and the number. Yeah, I got that right. Finished is connected to a function that destroys the parent's object. Yeah. The full event is connected to an empty function, indicating that it currently doesn't have any functionality. Yeah, it doesn't. I don't know if I fully need that event yet, but I'm leaving it in just in case. The getback event is connected to a function that updates the info table. It receives the item surplus and the corresponding number key in the info table. Overall, this code appears to handle inventory-related functions, such as adding items to a player's inventory. Without additional context, the rest of the code is challenging to provide a complete understanding of its purpose and functionality. Well, I mean, I'll give it a thumbs up. That was pretty good. I want to see now if it can take this same code block and potentially optimize it. See if there's any kind of optimization it can do. Optimize that same code. Let's see if it'll be able to pick up what that same code is. It gave me code that is 30 lines, and then the original was 27. So it's larger, but let's see what it says. Created separate functions for each event handler. This improves code readability and makes it easier to manage and modify event handling logic. Yeah, that makes sense. Stored game.replicated storage to inventory data. Add an bindable event in a local variable inventory event. This avoids repetitive lookups and improves performance. Alright. Use local variables instead of accessing them directly from the script. This improves code readability. So it essentially just moved things around so that the code was more readable. That makes sense. And yeah, pretty good improvements. So overall, my thoughts on this assistant is that it's still very bare bones, and I think it needs some more work. It is in beta, like I said earlier, so things will probably change from the time I make this video to like a couple months later. But right now, I think it's kind of on ground with how ChatGPT was when it first came out with some things. It is pretty good at offering help and advice for like plugin recommendations and that sort of thing, like I asked earlier. But in terms of like the Roblox developer forums or YouTubers like me who make the tutorials about certain Roblox topics, I don't think that we're going to become useless assets anymore, because it's always good to hear it from a human in a human way of describing things. And sometimes, like with the developer forums, you can ask a really, really complicated question that this assistant can't handle because it has a character limit, and you can have like multiple scripts that are all tangled together and a mess, but someone on the developer forums, a human, could be able to help you better than this assistant can, since it can only handle small things and more basic things at a time. So, that's the Roblox AI assistant. I think it's pretty cool for what it is. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.